Overall, the Vermont housing market is still very competitive. Many listings are receiving multiple offers or selling for well over list price. I have buyers that I'm working with right now that are waiving all contingencies and are still losing to offers that either went higher in price or maybe they were cash or what have you. So it's very competitive out there for many of these listings. But when we take a look at some of this data, it starts to tell a little bit of a different story with what's going on in the market. Now, sellers hear that the housing market's competitive, and some sellers are choosing to list their home over what it's worth. They're listing their home for an aggressive number. It's sitting on the market. And some of the stories that I hear, now I don't have great data behind this, so it's my subjective experience, but I am hearing stories of homes selling for well under list price for numbers that I wouldn't expect to see. Some buyers are getting great deals out there if they're able to find the right seller. And that being said, there's plenty of sellers out there that are still selling for numbers that I have a hard time believing as well, because they're getting way more than what I think the home is worth in these multiple offer situations. And I have I have subjective experience of both of those situations where homes, I'm surprised that my buyers lose out on properties that they bid way up on. And then I'm surprised as well to see what some of these sellers accept after the home sits on the market for an extreme amount of time. So those are really just my subjective experiences, but we're going to dive deep into the data and see what's going on. When we take a look at what's happening across the state, we're seeing that new listings are up year over year. We're seeing inventory is up year over year, but we're seeing pending sales are down. So there's more homes coming to the market than there were this time last year. There's more homes on the market, at least statewide, but there's less homes going under contract. So there's less transactions for the amount of properties that are on the market. Overall, this is a good thing. We need more inventory. We need to get back to the pre-pandemic levels of where things were, of where inventory was here in Vermont. Now, the real kicker is the month supply of inventory, which is the ratio between buyers and sellers, still remains relatively low. It sits at under 3 month supply, which anything under 6 month supply, that 4 to 6 month range, is considered a seller's market. So it still is a seller's market, and many listings are still getting multiple offers, are still selling for well over list price. But at least across the entire state, we're seeing things start to shift slightly. And if that continues, we could enter into more of a buyer's market as we move into the fall. I don't think we're going to see anything drastic happen this spring. Things move slowly with housing, but if we see rates remain high throughout 2024, then we could see things slowly start to shift into the buyer's favor. The big part that you want to watch, the biggest metric to watch when it comes down to whether or not this is going to be a buyer's market or a seller's market, is going to be, one, the month supply of inventory, and two, how much inventory is out there on the market. Right now, inventory is still so low that even though things are trending in the buyer's direction in terms of the data, when we look at the numbers, and we're going to dive into that in a minute here, it's still a seller's market right now. Homes are still selling for over list price. So let's get into the data. My name is Liam O'Reilly. I'm a realtor with Jerry Riley Real Estate. If you have any real estate needs, all of my contact information is in the description. I would be happy to help you. Reach out to me directly. And again, happy to help. So let's get into the numbers here. So taking a look at median sales price, we see that median sales price ticked back up in the month of March. Of course, I'm recording this on April 22nd, so the end of April here. March is the most recent data that we have. This little dip in median sales price is seasonal. We could see we had it in years past. As the winter months roll around, less sales happen, less expensive homes are sold in the winter. And then as the spring market starts to pick up, we see that median sales price tick back up. So subjectively speaking, I didn't really notice a drop in median sales price, even though the numbers showed that. Home prices weren't really falling across the state, and we can see that in the data as the median sales price starts to tick back up to around where it is, around this $400,000 mark. I expect that we'll see a number closer to 400,000 when the April data comes out. We can see here that the median sales price is up 10% year over year, so home prices aren't falling anywhere across the state. Of course, we're looking at single family homes only across the state. That's because some of these ski condos don't give a good representation of what the housing market is doing. These ski condos behave differently than the long-term purchases, the people who are looking to buy primary residences or even long-term vacation homes here in Vermont. So what was I talking about at the beginning of this video with new inventory, new listings coming to the market, active inventory, and pending sales. So new listings here are up 5.2% year over year. Again, this is single family homes across the state. So they were at 421 listings last year. Now there's 443 listings. So more people are listing their homes this time than they were, or this year, this March, than they did last March. When we take a look at what's happening with pending sales, we see that less homes are going under contract compared to this time last year. So there's more listings on the market than there were this time last year, and less homes are going under contract, right? Very interesting. And all that results in more inventory on the market. We see active inventories up 18% year over year, a very significant number, about 100 more homes on the market this time or this year compared to last year. You can see we're still well below where things were pre-pandemic. We have a long way to go before inventory catches up to really where we need it to be in order to have a stable housing market, but things are trending in that direction, albeit they're trending slowly in that direction. So we'll see how long things can last like this before something changes in the market, either rates drop and that causes inventory to go back down, or if they stay like this for a while and we see inventory start to build pretty drastically. Now, so active inventory at the beginning of the video, this is one of the metrics that I mentioned is a big indicator to what's going on in the overall housing market, right? Even though there's more listings and less homes going under contract, because there's so few listings on the market, when a good listing hits the market, when it's attractive, when it's a well-maintained home, and it's priced appropriately, buyers jump on that property because there's not much out there. It might be the only good listing in that price range, in that location that's currently on the market, and there might be 5 to 10 buyers who want to buy that property. And that's why we're seeing homes get bid up, even with these numbers showing that things are trending in the buyer's direction. Now, when we take a look at month supply of inventory, we'll see here we're at 2.6 month supply, right? This 4 to 6 month time frame, or I guess they have it in 5 to 7, this blue line here, that is what's considered a neutral market where neither the buyer nor the seller has an advantage. You can see here, ever since COVID, we've been in a seller's market, and we remain in a seller's market despite inventory ticking up across the state. Now let's take a look at what's going on in Chittenden County. Of course, Chittenden County, this is where Burlington is. So home prices are much more expensive in Chittenden County. The average sales price, the median sales price, is at $450,000. Again, we have the same increase here. We have that seasonal dip, but the median sales price is coming right back up. Now, something I wanted to point out here is that there's a difference between single family homes and condos around Chittenden County. When we take a look at the percentage of list price received, so how many, the average home receives 101.8% of list price, right? So some homes are selling for what they're asking for, what their home is listed for. Others are selling for over list price. Others are selling for under list price. And I think that really depends on where you come out in the market. I truly believe that if you price your home appropriately, if you price it accurately, you should receive list price or above fairly quickly within the first week or so of being on the market. That's what we're seeing in this market today. The reason why this number isn't higher, the reason why it's not as high as it was back in 2022, one, the market is a little bit cooler than it was back in 2022 when rates were around 3%. But two, a lot of sellers are very ambitious with their pricing right now. They see that there's nothing on the market. They see that homes are selling for top dollar, and they try to list their home aggressively. And oftentimes it ends up, biting them, and they end up getting less than what they would get otherwise. Now, when we take a look at the percent close above list price, again, this is for single family homes and condos in Chittenden County. The reason why we have condos in Chittenden County is because we don't have those ski towns. So these condo sales, they're long-term, often owner-occupied condos, potentially investor-owned condos as well, but it's a much different environment than these ski condos that, might be fractional ownership or have, are really in a market of their own. So that's why I include condos in the Chittenden County numbers. Now, when we take a look at the differences between single family homes and condos, we'll see here that 50%, exactly 50% of all single family homes in Chittenden County sold for over list price, right? So if you price your home attractively, you're still going to get over list price. This is down from the 80%, right, that we saw in May of 2022. That's a pretty staggering number, 80% of homes selling for over list price, but it's still well above pre-pandemic levels, and it's still clearly a seller's market. Now, when we switch over to condos, we unclick single family homes and we check condos here, we'll see that 46% of condos sold for over list price. So a little bit lower than the single family homes. Condos around Chittenden County, on average, again, every listing is different. Condos tend to be a little bit less competitive. They tend to be at a little bit of a cheaper price point, right? When we go back to median sales price here, we see $450 for single family homes and condos. The single family home median sales price is at $550, almost $100,000 over that number when you include condos. So if you're looking for a single family home in Chittenden County, the median price property is going to be at $450,000 roughly. And that's the average. Half of the homes are going to be listed below that, half are going to be listed above that, but that's going to get you, your run-of-the-mill Chittenden County property. Now, when we take a look at condos, just to give you a reference of the different price points, condos are at $339, right? There's a lot of condos that sell for around $280,000, $300,000, $315,000. There's almost no single family homes that sell for that price point anymore in Chittenden County. Now let's take a look at just a couple other metrics here before we head out. Active inventory in Chittenden County remains very low, slightly up year over year, 3.4%. So up a little bit, but not much. When we take a look at what's going on with new listings as well, new listings up 8.6%. So up from 128 to 139. And we take a look at pending sales here. Pending sales are actually up in Chittenden County for single family homes and condos. So 30% change. That's pretty crazy. So more homes are going under contract, even though there's more listings on the market and there's more new listings coming to the market. More properties are going under contract, much different than what we're seeing in the rest of the state. Again, things are very hot here in Chittenden County. Now, I'm going to go back, exit out of these stats here. Some subjective stories from Chittenden County. We had a listing that we tried to sell as an office here in Chittenden County that we listed in the fall. It didn't sell. We relisted it this spring and it went under contract in a week or two. So it's a little bit more competitive even than it was in the fall of 2023. And now rates did go up last week. Rates went up from about 6.5%, a little over 6.5% to over 7% now. And we haven't really seen what that's going to do to the housing market. But from what I've seen, the buyers that I'm working with, they haven't slowed down because of these lower rates, or these higher rates, excuse me. And sellers aren't looking at these higher rates and saying, well, now nobody's going to pay for my home. They know that there's enough buyers out there who want to pay top dollar, and they're still likely going to get multiple offers. Now, if these high rates persist throughout the entire year and into 2025, that could change the market in some ways. But overall, in the near term, we're not seeing any changes right now. And I don't think we're going to see any changes, even though rates are up slightly. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave me a comment. I always love reading your comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video.